Okay, we've had two different options now on our Oregon Trail adventure. Let's do take three and see where we end up. It started out as a great adventure. You were traveling west on the Oregon Trail with your parents, twin brother and little sister. After years of struggling to get by in Missouri, your parents decided your family would start a new life out west. But the adventure had turned into a nightmare. It started when your father got very sick. Your mother soon followed. It was smallpox. The others in your wagon train couldn't afford to stop. They didn't want to risk catching the disease, and they all needed to reach Oregon before winter. You decided to stop your wagon on the plains of Nebraska and watched as the wagon train continued west without you. You did all you could to nurse your parents back to health, but your mother died 5 days ago. Your father followed yesterday. You buried them both along the trail and marked their grave with a cross made of sticks. Now the three of you are alone. We have to turn around, says 10-year-old Annabelle, her face streaked with tears. Your brother Lucas sits with his head in his hands. Your father's rifle lies beside him. There's nowhere for us to go back to, he says with a sigh. We sold everything we own. But it's too far, Annabelle says. How could we do it alone? You wipe your hands on your apron. Lucas is right, you tell her. Lucas and I are 17. We'll be 18 by the time we make it to Oregon. That's old enough to stake a claim and start a life. We have to go now, Lucas says. He stands and begins to hitch your mules to the wagon. We're already almost 2 weeks behind the wagon train. We haven't seen another wagon for days. If we don't go now, we won't make it before winter. There's another reason to hurry. When you left Missouri, you thought you had enough food and supplies. You have a good team of mules to pull your wagon as well as your father's reliable mare. You have pots, tools, fishing gear, and 2 good rifles. You left with water casks, flour, bacon, dried beef, sugar, and salt. But over time, your food stores have dwindled. You ate too much early in your journey and lost some food to spoilage. Even if you leave now, you're not sure you'll have enough. Annabelle looks worried. Look, you tell her, we just have to follow the trail, right along the Platte River. We'll be to Fort Bridger before you know it. The trail isn't hard to follow. The prairie grasses are beaten down to bare dirt in places, but that also creates a problem. Your mules need grass to eat. So does the mare. There isn't enough on the trail. Lucas suggests turning to the north in search of better grazing land, but you worry about leaving the main trail. Okay, so we're going to go in search of grazing land. It takes half the day, but you find the grass that the mules and horse need. You unhitch the team and let them graze. While they eat, you fix a light meal of bread and bacon. Lucas takes the rifle and heads off in search of game. As your supper cooks, you hear the sound of approaching horses. But it's not Lucas. You gasp as you peer around the wagon and see 3 Indians riding toward you. Every settler on the Oregon Trail has heard frightening stories about Indians. Will they attack? Will they steal your supplies? You wish Lucas was here. Get in the wagon, you shout at Annabelle. You look at the back of the wagon. Your other rifle sits in there. Lucas keeps it loaded, and you know how to shoot it, but you have no idea how to reload. Here are your choices. To greet the Indians and hope they're friendly, turn to page 21. We did that last time. To shoot at the approaching Indians, turn to page 39. Oh dear, let's see what happens if we make that choice. You have to defend yourself. You grab the rifle. The 3 Indians are almost to the wagon. One raises an arm. Could he have a gun? No time to find out. You level the barrel and pull the trigger. Crack! The force of the shot half spins you around. You look up. The 3 Indians have stopped. One dismounts. He puts his hand in front of him a gesture meant to calm you. The other two remain on horseback. Both carry rifles, but the guns are not aimed at you. You realize that the Indians never meant you harm. You fired on innocent men. The Indian approaches you. Calmly, he takes the gun from your hand. He shakes his head. Then he turns to leave. Another crack sounds across the plain. The Indian crumples to the ground. It's Lucas. You can only imagine what he thought when he saw the Indians at your wagon taking the rifle from you. "No, stop!" you shout, but it's too late. The other two Indians have already raised their weapons. One shot catches Lucas in the arm. The other slams into his chest. He falls from his horse. Two men are dead already. As the Indians ride towards you, rage in their eyes, you know you'll soon be dead too. You just hope that they spare little Annabelle. And that's the end of that choice.